How's everybody this evening?
Good.
Okay, tonight we have I would say we probably have a lot of material to kind of go over, and I think that for those that will take notes, it will be helpful to you as it relates to transformational leadership. And so then we have, of course, the story who might cheat. That's the last thing we're going to end up doing. So we're going to talk about that as well. But we have a lot of information I think to cover. So we'll try to go through it. If you're writing it down and you're not finished writing some information down, and we're moving too quickly, just tell us not yet, before we move the slide. So I have two questions. Last week we stopped here where it says exercise and everybody broke into 3 groups. And you did your exercise last week, remember that? Okay, so probably click to the next slide. Okay, and so these are some questions that ends up last week's workshop. Okay, so are there any ministries in St. John's Baptist Church where change is being resisted simply because of one's own preference?
Yes.
No, I want you to answer.
You want?
Yes, I do. I want you to answer.
I mean, should we recognize it?
Oh, it's okay. I just, yeah. So you saying yes? Okay. Does anybody else agree that there are or are not?
Yes.
There are. Okay.
Yes. Oh.
I don't know if we want to, I don't think we'll get into that because that's just, I think, another can of worms. Y'all agree with that? That's another can of worms. But at least to acknowledge it is one thing. Okay, so at least you are aware in St. John's Baptist Church that there are ministries where change is being resisted simply because of one's own preference. Okay, and that's what someone was saying last week about, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Y'all remember that comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, just because people that's in leadership have their own preference, it's not always, the right thing to do because just because you have your own preference doesn't make it right. Do you believe that?
Yes. Say that again?
Because you have your own preference doesn't mean that it's right. Because I'm the president, okay, and I say that I want things to be done this way, okay, doesn't mean that it's the right way. All right, sometimes it doesn't mean that it's the right way, it's just my way. You can have a group of people in your group that says, we think things should be done this way. We've tried things this way before, and it's not working anymore. Okay? And so, sometimes the president or the person that's in charge, when they meet that resistance, it's their own preference, it's their way. When you're working with people, and that we're going to be dealing with that, as far as transitional leadership, when you're working with people, everything can't be your way. Okay? If you want people to work with you, how many people know that? Do you know that? If you want people to work with you, you have to be mindful, and like I said, we're going to get into this. You have to be mindful that you have people that's working with you. Okay, so in fact, the very fact that you have people working with you means that you should respect their opinion. Now, whether you do what they say or not, that's a different story. Okay, I didn't say you have to do what the persons are suggesting, right? I didn't say that you have to do what they're suggesting. However, out of respect for the people that's working with you in your group, you should at least let them have their say. Hear them out. Maybe they're right. Okay? Instead of automatically taking the approach, it's my way. Or as some people say, the highway. You know, so that's not what we want to do. It is, like I said, it may not be here that it's being done that way, but again, you know, that's just a question. Okay, so how can routine and tradition get in the way of a church ministry fulfilling its purpose? That's another question. How can routine and tradition get in the way of church ministry fulfilling its purpose? Yes, ma'am.
When the purpose needs to change, or when the need has changed for the ministry, and we're continuing to do the same thing, then the routine and tradition will get in the way of you completing your mission and purpose.
Very good. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I think what it does is puts God and Holy Spirit in a box. If it's something you put in the paper 300 years ago, and God is telling you to move towards something else, but you just, you know, abide by the stone that something was written 300 years ago. What you're doing is you're just saying, God, you know, we got this. So I think it puts the church and God in a box. That doesn't allow for anything fresh.
Okay. Anybody else?
It inhibits growth.
Yes.
Okay, so the inhibits growth. All right, anybody else? Okay, so some leaders in ministries just want things to happen. They want them to happen without prayer, without sacrifice, and without hard work. And those are some of the points that some of the groups made last week in their exercises. That as those churches that died, you know, they forgot about prayer, you know, which is, you know, one of the key components, you know, in ministry. So when it takes hard, you know, there are those that do sacrifice in their ministries. You know, there are people that do go over and above, you know, to sacrifice to make that ministry work and be successful. So some leaders, if they had their way, and most of them do, will only accept new members only if they are like them. And if the church will continue to do or have church the way they wanted it. Okay, so in other words, when you are the president of a ministry and you're recruiting members, right? People have a tendency to recruit people who are like them or agree with them. That's what people generally do, you know. If you don't, no, I'm not going to get her in my group. Because she's always, you know, arguing. She's argumentative. I'm not going to ask her. And she may be the very right one for the group. But because, you know, the person in lead, okay, finds that they're not, you know, because trust, I mean, when you're a leader, you wish everything will go perfect. In a perfect world, right? In a perfect world, you know, you can ask the pastor, I'm sure. In a perfect world, you will love everybody to go along with you in everything that you're proposing to do. Everybody will love that, correct? Or do people just like opposition? Who in here just likes opposition? You know, somebody to come and mess your day up. Huh? All right, because some people just do that, you know. Some people come just to mess your day up. You don't believe that, do you? Y'all believe that, or you don't believe that? Some people purposely come to mess up your day. Okay? The devil gets through them. Why? Because we're not praying. All right, so we allow the enemy to work through them instead of binding that devil. All right, because you have the power. All right, to bind. The scripture says that whatsoever you bind on earth, right, will be bound on earth. Whatsoever you bind in heaven will be bound in heaven. So you can bind that devil. You can bind that spirit. You know, or you can let the devil come in your meeting and take over. It's up to you. But if you're a child of God, you know, you have the power, okay, to bind that devil in your meeting. Okay, because like I said, just being real, some people just come to mess up your day. Okay, next slide. I think we're back at where we're going to start today. Now, last week, you were supposed to take that quiz, Okay, so how many people were able to do that and bring back the results tonight? Okay, all right, so let's just go around and see what you are as far as what the test results spit out for you or gave you to start with.
Mine ended up being participatory.
Okay, participatory. You not ready? All right, same thing?
Participatory.
Okay.
Oh, she said, okay, I'm a delegate leader too.
Okay. For you, or you didn't get the chance to do it? Okay, that's fine.
Participative and delegative.
Okay,
Participative and delegative.
okay. Same. All right, I think mine was the same as well. So either is rigged, you know what I mean? Everybody's the same thing, or you know, or the kid. Okay.
Or we answer.
Or we have like-minded people. Okay, which is a good thing. Okay. All right. So let's just move on. Next slide. Okay, and this is again a repeat of the first slide when we first started. Transformational leadership is a style of leadership where the leader is charged with identifying the need, change, creating a vision to guide the change through inspiration, and executing the change in tandem and committed members of the group leaders and their followers raise one another to higher levels of morality and motivation. Okay, we wrote this down. If you need to write it down again, you know, it's here. And if you don't need to write it down, then we'll move to the next slide. Does anybody need to write this? We'll wait. Everybody has that? Like I said, we did this in the beginning last week, so this one you may have already written down. Okay, so transformational leadership also serves to enhance the motivation, the morale, and job performance of followers through a variety of mechanisms. These include connecting the follower's sense of identity and self to the project and the collective identity of the organization, being a role model for followers in order to inspire them and raise their interest in the project, challenging followers to take greater ownership for their work and understanding the strengths and weaknesses of the followers, allowing the leader to align followers with tasks that enhance their performance. So the leader has to not just, you know, care about themselves, but the people that are working with you. You have to care about them. Okay? You have to generally care about. A good transformational leader, you know, cares about the people that are working with them. Okay? Transformational leaders are able to inspire followers to change expectations, perceptions, and motivations to work towards common goals. So if you're a transformational leader and you have individuals that's working with you on your committee, you know, it's up to you to inspire them. You know, if you just come in here today and say, all right, we'll have the meeting today. All right, let's open up with prayer. All right, read the scripture. All right, well, we need a new van. So we just gotta do what we gotta do to get the van. You know, somebody think of something to do, and we'll get the van. Here's some refreshments on the table. If you go ahead and get some refreshments, and then, you know, if that's all, then, you know, the meeting's almost over, and we'll see y'all next month and see what we do. All right, we'll see y'all later. I'm going, I got stuff to do. Okay? You're not motivating anybody, you're not caring about anybody, just doing stuff, you know? But if you come in, you know, and you say, all right, listen, Carlin, you know, your task is, you know, or you ask, you know, this is what we need to do. How can we get there? You know, you ask your group, how did we get here? You know, our goal is this. We've been assigned this task, this mission, okay? How do we get there? Now, as a leader, the leader may know how to get there. You hear what I'm saying? The leader may know how to get there. You may already know how to get there. But now you want to bring it out. You want to bring that out among the followers, your members. You want them to see the vision. You know, you got to be excited about, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put on some formula. We're going to do some car washes. You know, we're going to, I don't know if you're going to sell dinners no more, but anyway, I won't say that. All right, but in the day they used to sell dinners. But I'm saying, well, whatever. You know, we're going to put on some programs, you know, and we're going to, you know, by next month, you know, we expect to have this amount of money and, you know, just be enthusiastic about what you're trying to do. And then assign, you know, all right, now, who can do this? You know, and so whatever members I feel, well, I can do that. You know, okay, well, you do that, you know, and then who else? Okay, so when they get finished doing this, we need some people to do this. You know, so you already as the leader, you know what you want to do, all right? And so, again, you allow your members and stuff to even go through that process to help you, even though, like I said, as a leader, you know what steps and stuff you already want to take, all right? But help them to be a part of it so that they feel what? That they're a part of the process, okay? So now that you make them feel that they're a part of the process, okay, now they're going to buy into it. I'm depending on you, Carlin. You know, next month we need to be in a certain place. All right, if you got any problems, you know, let me know. I'm here. You know, because I can help you too as well. You know, so you got to be encouraging. You know, and try to be motivating. Okay, and well, yes, ma'am. You want to say something?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My perception of the leader, my experience as a leader, you know what your goal is, so you say, well, I have a couple of suggestions, because this is what we have to do, right? And then you open up on the floor. Does anybody else have any more suggestions?
Well, see, again, you could take that approach, but I think what this is gonna, again, we got more slides and stuff, but I think what you want to do, because you're the leader, you already know what you want to do. You don't want to come across, you know, to your fellows, you know, your followers or your members and stuff that I know it all. You know, you don't want to come across that way, you know, because people are people, and they take the wrong, you know, depending on how you come out your mouth, you know, depending on how you say it. I mean, you can say things, you know, you can do the way you say something. I can say, good morning. I can say to you, good morning. I can say to you, good morning. Morning. You know, so depending on how I say something, you're going to take things the way that I say it. So, again, as a leader, you already know what you want to do. Try to engage the members in your group, okay? And you can always input, you know, what it is that you're trying to input, you know, for the direction and stuff that you're trying to go, but allow them the opportunity to feel that they're part of the group. And it's not just a one-man show. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of times when I have chaired or sat and helped guide chairs on any types of projects, the first thing I find it very necessary to do is to tell them the goal.
Yes.
And if they don't understand it, because different people, it can mean different things to different
Right,
people.
that's correct.
Then you have 3 or 4 different avenues if we're all not on one chord about that specific goal.
That's correct.
So you identify either the problem or the goal. You can look at it either way. But it's amazing how one person can read one sentence and it can mean totally something different. So you have got to make sure you identify the need or the goal for the problem.
That's correct. And we're going to probably see that. I'm just talking before we get to the slides and stuff, so I should be probably quiet, you know what I mean? And so y'all just tell me to be quiet and do the slides. All right. So that's what's I'll get to talking. All right, next slide. Okay, so the leader transforms and motivates followers through his or her idealized influence, referred to as charisma, intellectual stimulation, and individual consideration. In addition, this leader encourages followers to come up with new and unique ways to challenge the status quo, and to alter the environment to support being successful. Transformational leaders also focus on and care about followers and their personal needs and development. Okay, so I don't know if you want to write these things down, but these are things that, you as the leader should have in mind. You should have in your mind about the people that's going to be working with you. Okay? Okay, so there are 4 components of transformational leadership, sometimes referred to as the 4 I's. That's kind of small, right? Can y'all see that? I know it's kind of small. I should have did it another way, but that's all right. Y'all be all right. Okay. All right, so the 4 I's are idealize influence. The leader serves as an ideal role model for followers. The leader walks the talk and is admired for this. Okay? So you understand that sometimes leaders, they talk, but they don't walk the talk. Okay? They just do talking. They don't do what they believe or what they're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
It's do as I say do. Y'all heard that saying, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Okay? Do as I say do, not as I do. All right, so the second one is inspirational motivation. So transformational leaders have the ability to inspire and motivate followers. Combine these 2 I's are what constitute the transformational leader's charisma. So you have to have, something about you, that people, like. You got to be somewhat exciting. There's got to be something about you. You just can't be straight-faced. I won't say not serious, because there's a time for everything. There's a time to be serious, and there's a time also, to have fun. And you want to, I think that you would want to have fun with the people that you're working with, rather than, just being straight-faced and all serious and, not having any compassion, toward the members and stuff that's working with you. And I know a lot of times, we don't think about the other person as a leader. We only think about ourselves and the goals that, you're going to set. So number 3 says, individualized consideration. Transformational leaders demonstrate genuine concern for the needs and feelings of followers. This personal attention to each follower is a key element in bringing out their very best efforts. So you understand what that means, right? Mm-hmm. That if you show people that you care about them, then people will go out their way too to help them. If I know that you care about me, I had a flat tire today, and maybe you came to help me, change my tire, or if I didn't have money and, to pay for that tire, and, I was supposed to come to the meeting and you came and picked me up or whatever, you gave money for that tire or whatever, it makes me think about you and the ministry a different way. So now I have a different attitude, about working and doing stuff for you. So if you can go out your way and help me, then surely me as the member, can be faithful, to that ministry and try to do everything that I possibly can, to help the ministry that I'm in with you to be successful. Okay? Intellectual stimulation. The leader challenges followers to be innovative and creative. A common misunderstanding is that transformation leaders are soft, but the truth is that they constantly challenge followers to higher levels of performance. So transformation leadership is said to have occurred when engagement in a group results in leaders and followers raising one another to increase levels of motivation and morality. So when the leader encourages the member, to whatever task that they were given, and the excitement is there, and they can't wait, till the next meeting because, they leave from that meeting and they're encouraged and they're going out there and they're doing everything that they can. And once they're successful, they can't wait to the next meeting because, they've achieved something. Okay? And like I said, I can talk more, but I know some of the stuff is on the slide, so I'm be quiet until we get to some more things, okay? Characteristics of transformational leaders. There are 5 major personality traits have been identified as factors contributing to the likelihood of an individual displaying the characteristics of a transformational leader. Okay. All right, so one, and like I said, there's 5 of them, so I don't know if you want to write these down. One is extroversion. The 2 main characteristics of extroverts are affiliation and agency, which relate to the social and leadership aspects of the personality, respectively. Extroversion is generally seen as an inspirational trait, usually exhibited in transformational leadership. Neuroticism generally gives an individual an anxiety related to productivity, which in a group setting can be liberating to a degree where they are unlikely to position themselves in a role of transformational leadership due to lower self-esteem and a tendency to shirk from leadership responsibilities. Okay, so if you have low self-esteem, you're not going to function, to the best of your ability because you don't have that confidence. You don't have confidence in yourself, in what you're doing. Openness to experience. Creative expression and emotional responses have been linked to a general tendency of openness to experience. This trait is also seen as a component of transformational leadership as it relates to the ability to give big picture visionary leadership for an organization. Okay, and I know now a couple more slides are going to explain this a little bit more. So, anybody, did you guys want to write that down or are we good? We good? Okay. All right. Agreeableness, although not a trait which specifically points to transformational leadership, leaders in general possess an agreeable nature stemming from a natural concern for others and high levels of individual consideration. Charisma and idealized influence is a classic ability of individuals who possess agreeability. 5 is conscientiousness. Okay, so strong sense of direction and the ability to put large amounts of productive work into tasks is the byproduct of conscientious leaders. This trait is more linked to a transitional form of leadership given the management-based abilities of such individuals and the detail-oriented nature of their personality. Okay, next, like I said, we're gonna explain it. So transactional leadership, in contrast to transformational leadership, transactional leadership style focuses on the use of rewards and punishments in order to achieve compliance from followers. So a transactional leader is one, as it says here, who uses rewards and punishments. Okay, so they reward you for what you do or punish you for what you don't do. Okay, so that's what it's telling you is a transactional leader. All right, so again, in your roles as leaders, the question is, is this one of the principles that you use, in your group, that you reward people for when they do things and stuff well, or do you punish people, because they don't do things to your expectation?
And can I say something about that? Because that can be so slight. It doesn't have to be, it can be something as slight as leaving the name off the program when you give the program at church as far as the community member, as a punishment.
Oh, yeah.
Not, you see what I'm saying? It wouldn't be anything really active that you would think about, but something real subtle, just subtle like that as far as punishment, or when you're calling names out in a program or something, leaving the name off, just little things like that.
Mm-hmm. So again, you have to be mindful if you're doing transformational leadership, You know, you're not gonna do those things. You're not gonna try to punish people. That's not the purpose, you know, of being a leader. Some people may think that's, you know, what you're supposed to do, maybe because it's been done ever since you grew, you know, you were a child, so you might think that that's the way it is. That's the status quo. You know, that's how it's always been done, you know, so somebody did it before you, you're now the new leader, so somebody punished you when you didn't do well, so you think that that's the way it's supposed to be, you know? And so the question becomes, you know, if you think that that's the way it's supposed to be, the question becomes, what was the results did you get from punishing your members? What result did you get? Was it a positive result? I'm sure some people will go home and sit down. You won't see some people no more. You know, so that's why I say it's very important, you know, for leaders, you know, as it relates to transformational leadership, to be mindful of your members. You know, it may seem like extra work, you know, and maybe it is, but at least, you know, the end result will be you having a healthy ministry, okay, versus one that's dying, okay? So transformational leaders look towards changing the future to inspire followers and accomplish goals. Yeah, we know, there you go, all right there. Whereas transactional leaders seek to maintain the status quo, not aiming for progress. Okay, so do you see the difference between a transformational leader and a transactional leader? Okay? Transactional leaders seek to maintain the status quo. This is how things have always been. Okay? And not aiming for progress. When transformational leaders, you know, look for the change, the future, to inspire your followers to accomplish the goals, like you were saying, that you set out. So studies have shown transformational leadership practices lead to higher satisfaction with leader among followers and greater leader effectiveness, while transactional practices lead to higher follower job satisfaction and leader job performance. So again, if you want to know the difference between a transactional leader and a transformational leader, okay, those are some of the points that they're bringing out, you know, for you. All right, and again, as you're coming to another year, you may relate to some of the leaders or presidents or chairmans, whatever, that were more transactional versus transformational. All right, next slide. Okay, so laissez-faire leadership. In the laissez-faire leadership style, a person may be given a leadership position without providing leadership, which leads followers to fend for themselves. This leads to subordinates having a free hand in deciding policies and methods. Studies have shown that while transformational leadership styles are associated with positive outcomes, laissez-faire leadership is associated with negative outcomes, especially in terms of follower satisfaction with leader and leader effectiveness. Also, other studies comparing the leadership styles of men and women have shown that female leaders tend to be more transformational with their leadership styles, whereas laissez-faire leadership is more prevalent in male leaders. So, again, you may have experienced this type of leadership, or you may be one of these type of leaders, okay? So a laissez-faire style is a person who may be given a leadership position without providing leadership. Anybody, well, I ain't gonna say. Does that happen here? I'll ask that question.
Yes.
I ain't calling no names, all right?
Yes.
I ain't calling names, but the question, does that happen here?
Yes.
When people just have a position, right, but they don't provide leadership. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, and which leads the followers to fend for themselves. So I got that position,
Yes.
right? I got that position. I wanted it all the time. I got that position, but I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? And so then my members, you know, are here. They're looking for direction from the leader, And there is none. There is no leadership. And so somebody in the group says, no, we gotta do something, you know? The president ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we're not gonna waste our time. We gotta do something. So you leave that member, those members there to fend for themselves. You know? So there's no leadership. Okay, so that's a laissez-faire type of leadership. Okay, factors affecting use. The individual personality of a leader heavily affects his or her leadership style. Specifically with regard to the following components of the 5-factor model of personality. Openness to experience,
Conscientiousness.
there you go, conscientiousness, extroversion, introversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, emotional stability, which they outline as OSHA. Get that acronym, okay? So, all the big 5 dimensions of the 5-factor model of personality would be positively related to transformational leadership. 1, openness to experience allows a leader to become more accepting of novel ideas and thus more likely to stimulate the following intellectually. So this was one of the 5 that you saw previously, but it's kind of like breaking it down a little bit more so that you can understand, you know, what openness to experience, okay, means. Okay, so it allows, once again, it allows a leader to be more accepting of novel ideas. In your group, you gotta be open. Leaders have to be open. In transformational leadership, you gotta be open. You can't come in with a closed mind. You can't. Because, again, how much production will you get from your members, you know, if you come in with a closed mind and won't allow them an opportunity? Because God doesn't, you know, God doesn't give you all of the answers. Okay, God may give you the vision, okay, but He's going to give somebody else something too to add to your vision. So you don't have all the answers. As much as we think we have all the answers, you know, you don't have all the answers. Okay, and so God can speak to anybody in your group, but you got to be open and listen. Somebody don't believe that, do you? God only speaks to y'all, one person, right? Yeah, God only speaks to there's no way that God can speak to other members of your group. So you're the president, and so God tells you what to do, and that's it. He don't speak to nobody else because there's nobody else in their group that's praying, you know, seeking God. So you're right, and your vision, because this is what the Lord put in my spirit. Well, I'm just saying. I don't know. Yes, sir?
You know, given consideration that God speaks to whoever He wants to, you know, that should come together. That should come together, not have somebody running off and saying, God told me, you know, without coming to get some confirmation or agreement or anything. God just doesn't work that way.
That's right.
God
And
wants
you gotta,
unity.
that's right, He wants unity, and people do those things, you know. Again, maybe not here, you know, but people do those things. You know, God told and get mad. God, listen, God has an order. I don't care what you say. All right, there's an order.
Yes, indeed.
All right, God has an order in this church. In His church, there's a structure. Whether, listen,
It's followed or not.
whether you agree with it or not, okay? Whether you agree with it or not. God put who? The leader is who?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but okay, then after Jesus Christ, then what? I know that's the church. Y'all like the church answer. See, I can give y'all church answer all day long. See, when we, people love it, and that's what I'm getting at. When sometimes we get in church, right, and we get afraid because we want to tell the church, we want to give the church answer because we don't want nobody in the church stuff to think something wrong with me. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
May I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
That actually is important
It is.
because so often we go off doing our own thing, not according to what Christ would have us do.
Right. and that's true, but then Jesus Christ is not down here sitting with you right now. You know what I mean? So there's somebody else that is
The pastor.
the shepherd. You know, I don't know what you call him. I don't know what name you call him or something like that. But yeah, that is the pastor. So there's the pastor, Jesus Christ. Then there's the pastor. Okay. So then under the pastor, all right, becomes the structure of the church, whatever that is, whether it's the deacons, trustees. So there's an order.
There's a joint.
You know what I'm saying? However it is, there's an order in God's house. Okay? And so there's a scripture that says that the spirit is subject to the prophet. Okay? So just because I feel it, I feel the spirit. And like the pastor saying, God told me this. I don't care what they say. God told me this. I'm going to do it the way God told me. Well, no. Okay, because there's a structure. Like the pastor said, you got to come together and talk. Okay? And check with what you're saying with the word of God. Because you feel something don't make it right because you feel it.
Right.
Oh, y'all don't hear me.
Amen.
Because you feel it don't make it right.
That's right.
There's an order. You cannot run over leadership. You can't. You're out of order. If you try to go over leadership, you are out of order. Okay? You know that serenity prayer? Everybody see that?
Yes.
All right. You know what it says?
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Okay. So, how many of you know that just because you have an idea and you think that it's the right idea, if it's not accepted in your group, oh well, guess what? It's not accepted in the group. You could be right. Y'all don't hear me. You could be right, but your group is not going with it. I'm going home. Ain't nothing but the devil. God gave me this idea and they don't want to hear it. There's an order, there's structure. Okay? You come in your group, you talk about it, you vote on it, whatever the procedure is. It's the same thing. President can't get mad if you get outvoted. It's a democratic process. Okay? And so, again, that serenity prayer. Sometimes you're not going to be able to change everything that you want to change. You're not going to be able to change everything that you want to change. And as much as you want to change it, you may not be able to change it. I'll give you an example so you understand what I'm saying. I was in Connecticut many years ago for our district. I was like the youth president, and the bishop, when they had a convocation, his thing was when the young people, the young people only come, instead of coming for the whole week, because the saints, the older people came all week. They came from Sunday to Sunday, every night service for the convocation or convention. All right? But the young people would only come on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. So, his thing was, you're not going to come as a young person, you're not going to come in here and try to bring your ideas when everybody's been here all week. Okay? When all the older folk saints been here all week, okay, and you're going to come on Saturday for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, you may have some ideas, but guess what? We done already talked about what we want to do with the youth, and so you weren't here, you weren't a part of it, so we're not listening to what you have to say. So even though they wanted input from the young people, that bishop's thing was, in order for me really to respect you and listen to what you have to say, you need to be here from Sunday to Sunday, like everybody else. You're not going to just come when you get ready. So, all right, whether we had the right ideas or not, that was his rule. So there's nothing we can do to change it. Okay? So rather than getting mad and going home and not doing anything because you still have the young people that you got to work with, okay? It was easy to say, you know what, we ain't working with the young people no more. You know, but no. You know, you got to get on board. You got to find out what's going on. You know, be smart enough, have some wisdom to say, okay, you know, let's start going from Sunday to Sunday and see what happens. Okay? But there's people that are in position or were in positions, you know, that's been in those positions for a long time. And they dealt with the status quo. So sometimes we can get very frustrated, okay, because you know that things work. You know that things work, okay, but status quo, we ain't doing it. So you can get upset and maybe not want to work, okay? So in that regard, you have to realize that you will not be able to make that change until that person either dies because they're in their office forever or until they die. So it's for real. You know what I'm saying? It's real. You know, so some changes that you know that need to happen won't happen until those people die out because they're in those positions forever. That's what we're talking about, the status quo. All right? It ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? So that can be dangerous sometimes. You know, it's good sometimes, but it also can be dangerous. Okay, so again, you have to know that with that serenity prayer, you got to know the difference. You know, because just because God gives you that vision, He gives it to you, all right, you may not be able to work that vision right now. Y'all hear me? Y'all don't hear me. Huh? Y'all don't hear me. Yes, ma'am.
How does that line up with what you said as far as the structure of the church?
Because what happens is here, okay? If what I'm getting to is sometimes members, presidents, all right, just because they're the president, okay, sometimes, and maybe it doesn't happen here, so I'm not talking about here because I am talking about here. Sometimes it may not happen here, but sometimes people want to tell the pastor what to do. Y'all hear me? If the pastor, if God has given the pastor the vision for the church, okay, and I'm bringing it all home here, okay, if the pastor feels, you know, that that's not the way that the Lord is leading him, and somebody over here says, no, but that's what the Lord gave me. That pastor don't want no growth. No, you're out of order. You're out of order. I don't care who you are. You're out of order. There's a structure. Ain't brought no membership, okay? Just like, it's like this, okay? God has given the pastor, okay, the pastor has the answer for everything. Anything that go on in this church, the pastor is held responsible by God for it. So whether this is successful or not, the pastor is responsible. Y'all don't hear me. Okay, the pastor is responsible. Okay, so what does the pastor do? It's a trickle down effect in business, in your businesses. All right, see, I'll bring this because this is how y'all understand it. All right, I'm gonna break it down this way. On your job, right? You may be the foreman on your job, right? And so as a foreman on your job, you have people that work under you, right? All right, and so even those people that work under you, they may be leaders, right, or lead people and stuff that work, okay, they got people working under them, right? So what happens? If the foreman gets his behind reamed out, can I say that word again?
You got it.
If the foreman gets chewed out, I use that word. If the foreman gets chewed out, what do you think? Because somebody underneath him didn't do what was right, what do you think that foreman gonna do? He going down and get the people and stuff down there that didn't do right, right? That made him look bad. Okay? So there's a structure and there's an order. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're the lead person on that job, you tell the people that's working for you, listen, I want you to do it this way. And as soon as you leave, somebody says, no, I'm gonna do it this way. I don't care what he said. And they mess around, they do it the wrong way, and they mess stuff up because it's costing money for your company and stuff like that. Then that foreman's in trouble because he allowed it to happen, and he's gonna get on the leader of that group, and then the leader of the group is gonna get on the person and stuff who actually made the mess. Okay? So what I'm saying is there's a structure in the church. So whether you think you're right or not, you know, you may not be, if it's the pastor, and that's what I said, the pastor is one that allows you and gives you guys the positions and stuff that you get ready to have. Okay, so he's entrusting you, all right, to do whatever it is that the Lord is calling you to do, and to do it well. That's what he's entrusting you to do. In the perfect world, you know, everybody would do their job in a perfect world and everything would be good. But that's not the way it is. You know, we have people that, you know, have difference of opinions. And so people will do things their way. You know, they like Burger King, they want to have it their way. You know, so, and they don't understand and realize that there is, you know, a structure. And just because, like I'm saying, just because you know or you believe God gave it to you, all right, when you talk with the pastor who's the head, you know what I mean? If he says no, you know what I'm saying? You got to accept that, you know, because the time is not now. It may come, okay? It may come. That vision that God gave you, it may come. But maybe now is not the time. Y'all hear me? Y'all don't like that, do you? Y'all don't like that, do you?
It's the truth.
It is the truth. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? See, so the thing is, you may not be wrong with your vision, okay? But the time may not be now. So you may have to wait. So you have to know that. You know, you have to have some wisdom. Like I said, just use that serenity prayer. You know, if you need, you know, to encourage yourself, you know, because when the time is right, then God will have that implemented. Mm-hmm. Because if God gives you something, it's for somebody, it's for a time that he wants it done. Y'all know, yeah, y'all.
Do you think that a person should revisit again, or just leave it alone this week?
Well, you have to wait. It's not that, again, you would revisit it, but I'm saying if the time is not now, because God's not going to give you something to take it away from you, okay? But if the time is not now, you know, then it's not now. But you have it. You know, you have it and you can work on a plan for it. But again, when you bring that to the pastor, this is what we want to do. If that's not the vision that God has given the pastor for the direction that he wants to go right now, you know what I'm saying, then you can't, you will, but you can't. You know, you shouldn't get upset. And people do. I'm just being honest. You know, people get mad because the pastor ain't the only one that God talked to. God talked to me too. He a man like I'm a man. Yeah, I hear people say those things. Maybe not here, but they do say it.
What church you go to?
I've been to a few, man. But yes, ma'am.
I was gonna say, sometimes it comes down to a matter of respect. And there very often is a lack of respect because pastor is the leader. And whether we agree with him or not, we should be respectful of his position. And we need to work on what we think is proper and consider him. And we don't always do that. And I have heard, like you, not here, maybe some church, that, oh, this is our church. It doesn't work like that. You cannot overlook him or other people in leadership because that is disrespectful. And if we are a church and a family and a community, we have got to be respectful of our leadership.
Yes.
I think that the lesson in it is the humility.
Yes.
I think that you'll learn more from walking in humility than you will ever be trying to push a point. And I think you'll be blessed for it. Because if I become toxic and I fight against everything that the man of God is doing, my toxicity is just going to spill over everybody. So now I'm going against them, and whoever sees me, whether I consider myself a leader, I'm leading someone else to doing the wrong thing. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Communication is very important. And it seems like through the years, we have lost the art of communication. All right? And as a church body, and even as or members of a ministry, if there's something wrong, we should be able to open up and talk about it. Because communication is very important. All right? But if you open it up, people get defensive, because they take the criticism. They think it's a criticism, and that's because they don't want to change and grow. That's what I think. It's because they're afraid of the change or the growth.
And the Bible says everything must change.
Everything has to change.
The young become the old, right? You stay young forever. So everything has to change. Okay? But in its own time. In its own time. In its own season. Okay? Yes, sir?
I think your attitude, how you approach things. You just been talking to the pastor. There's so many times I've heard over the years, he just hired me. Not even regarding this church. This is God's angel set before this church. And I've heard that at this church. He just hired me. And I thought that was the most disrespectful thing that you ever hear someone say to your pastor.
He's just a hired man. See, and that's true. That's what people say because they don't have any respect. And it's the one thing that somebody said here today that makes so much sense, if you don't respect the man, right, respect the office. If you don't respect the man, respect the office. Because you can get in trouble. Like I said, see, if people will tell you the truth, those people that you're talking about, problems that they have, okay, whether it's health or whatever, okay, stems from them being disobedient, and disrespectful to God's men and women of God. See, but again, I know you guys don't believe that, but it happens. We're not going to get away with stuff. We may think that we're getting away with things and stuff, but, we're not. We're not.
Be held accountable.
Yeah, you're going to be held accountable. So, and again, somebody might think and stuff that I got with the pastor told me to say that. I didn't get what the pastor said. I'm just saying it because it's right. There's an order in God's house. There's a structure. And just because God gives you a vision and you think stuff is right, you still got to go through him. If he says, no, not now, then guess what? No, not now. You can't get mad and jacked on and go home and stuff like that and sit up and call people on the phone and say, you know what the pastor did, that's just, you're not getting it because it's not about you. Sometimes people think it's about me. It's not about you. And if what does the scripture say? Together we stand and divided we fall. Okay? So the devil's job is to what? To divide you. That's his job. See, but we don't see that we're being divided. See, we overlook a lot of things and stuff. We overlook a lot of things. While the devil's dividing us, we're taking things personally. See, we're not seeing that the devil's dividing us. We're taking it personally. Oh, Pastor. Oh, and so you're taking it personal. The devil puts in your spirit, oh, he just don't want you, to do, oh, they let sisters, look, they let Sister Hill do what she want to do. But when I say something, oh, no, he ain't going to let me do nothing, and so that's what people, they say, oh, he's the pastor, got his pets, and I hear all those things and stuff like that, but, You know, again, the pastor has to be, you know, he's gonna be held responsible regardless, you know, and that's just the order, you know, of the church.
You know what else? It might be your approach. If you are backstabbing him and going around talking, and then you go and you have an idea, whose idea is gonna be more acceptable? The person who's been supported or the one who feels like, I don't have to consider you?
True, but I think that, again, here's the difference, okay? Let me tell you the difference. As the president of your group, see, you may feel that, you know, but as the pastor, you know what I'm saying, even though somebody just does those things, he's got to look at stuff in a whole different light because he's responsible to God. He cannot, you know what I'm saying, well, put it this way, he should not, him or her, all right, the pastor, whether it's a female or male, they should not, all right, take stuff personal because they already know that, you know, the devil works in the church and works through people, you know, so the pastor, you know, already knows those things, you know, so the pastors should not look at things, you know, in a vindictive way because, again, for everything that's happening, he's responsible for it. He's responsible, God, for everything, you know, so, again, somebody that's a president might say, and take that approach, you know, and don't look at the big picture. But in as much as the pastor, now I'm not saying that the pastor may not want to do it. He may feel like he needs to do that and say that, but he's held to, you know, to God. You know, so he has to do things differently because, you know, for him to tell you to pray for the people that, you know, misuse you, you know, and he doesn't do it, then you got a problem with that. Because how you gonna tell me, how you gonna preach to me? You know what I'm saying? How you gonna preach to me to do this stuff and you ain't doing it? I ain't trying to mess with you, Pastor. But anyway, but that's the truth. You know, at least, well, put it this way. It may not be, it's my truth. I'll put it that way. It's my truth. It's hard for me, all right, it's hard for me, you know, to sit under somebody who does something different than what the word says. You know, it's hard, you know, for me. You know, like I said, I like to be real, you know, like I said, I know that tonight might, you know, it is tonight, so y'all might say bye, Reverend O'Neill, you know, but, so I can say it, but, you know, for me to sit, and in other words, if the scripture says, and I've had a problem with this, you know, but if the scripture says, if you have an ought against your brother, and I know I'm probably going away from this, and I'm sorry, but if the scripture says you got an ought against your brother, right, you're supposed to leave your gift on the altar, right, and go and get it right, right? So, does that mean everybody, or does that mean just the lay people?
It means everybody.
Everybody, right? So, again, you know, and there's different things, so I'm saying the word of God is for everybody. There's no word that says, you know, this is for this person, and this is for this person. There's no word that says that. At least I don't know what it is. Is it, Pastor? I didn't think so. Okay, so again, you know, there's a structure, and everybody should understand that structure, okay, and not get upset. You know, if the time for your idea is not now, don't get upset. We do. I'm just being real. We do get upset. You know, but we should understand that we shouldn't because maybe the time is just not right now. You know, and it will come.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We didn't discuss it when we were going on talking about what type of a leader you were or you tested out to be. In the testing, it stated that we need a blend of all kinds. And if we have everybody that's the same, how are we going to get something done?
That's right. Hold that thought, because I think we're going to get it. If we don't, I think we're going to get to it on some of the slides, but if we don't, bring it back up, because we'll definitely make sure that we answer that. But I think we're going to get to it, okay?
Could you say that again? Because there might be some folk over here that didn't clearly hear what you said, and I think that's, we gotta come back to it, we need to have it, you know.
all I was asking was, when we took those tests, and everybody here seemed to be tested out as the same type of leader, how do we get anything done? Because the testing shows that we need a little bit of every type in your ministries and in your organization in order to move forward and get things done. So that was my question, and we're going to discuss it later.
Yes, yes. I know there's a slide that kind of addresses it a little bit, but when we get to that, we can fully discuss it some
Because
more.
that's difficult when you are a leader
Yes.
and everybody sits there and they nod their head like this. You get nothing done.
That's what we hope to change after tonight. Okay, number 2, conscientious leaders are achievement orientated and thus more likely to motivate their followers to achieve organizational goals. Okay, so leaders that are conscientious, okay, they know where they want to be. They know what the goals are. Like you said, when you start out with your group, you know, these are our goals, and you have to have those members to buy into what your goals are. And you got to find a way, okay, to make them feel that they're a part of that goal. Okay? And I'm going to talk some more about it. I think we're going to get down some more, but I don't want to just talk and say everything now. Okay, so 3 is extroverted and agreeable individuals are more outgoing and pleasant, respectively, and more likely to have successful interpersonal relationships. Thus, they are more likely to influence their followers and to be considerate towards them. So, an extroverted leader, okay, is someone, as it states right there, you'll be able to influence the people that are working with you. And that's the whole key, you know, you know, and some people may say, well, this is just too much work. But to be successful, you know, you need everybody on board. You need everybody to be on the same page that you're on. You can't have 2 people going in 2 different directions because you're not going to get nothing done. And those are facts, proven facts, okay? All right, so 4 is emotionally stable leaders would be better able to influence their followers because their stability would enable them to be better role models to followers and to thoroughly engage them in goal fulfillment process. Okay, emotionally stable leaders. I think the key word being stable. Y'all agree?
Yes.
Anybody know any leaders that's not stable?
Not even.
Not even. No, I didn't mean here. I'm talking about somewhere. Somewhere. Okay? So people are going to do, like I said, they will have your members will have a tendency to do what you do. If they're learning from you, you know, they'll have a tendency to do some of the things and stuff that you do because you're teaching them. Okay, if members of the ministry perceive their leaders to be prototypical of them, then transformational leadership would have less of an impact on their willingness to engage in organizational member behaviors. So it depends on you as a leader. You know, what you think and how you treat the person that's in your group. Likewise, if members in a ministry are goal-orientated and possess a traditional view of the organizational hierarchy, they tend to be less affected by transformational leadership. And self-motivated members of the ministry are less likely to need transformational leaders to prod them into action. And I think this is, you know, where you were talking about in terms of, you know, people that, you know, if everybody's like-minded and they're doing the same thing, if everybody in the group is self-motivated, you know, then they don't need nobody to tell them what to do because they're self-motivated. They just do things on their own. They just go and just do them. All right, so again, you know, like you were saying, if everybody was in there, in your group that was self-motivated and did those things, then of course, you know, there wouldn't really be a leader.
I'm speaking of the non-motivated.
All right, yes. Yes, okay? So, next. Okay, evidence suggests that the above sets of factors act in essence as both inhibitors of and substitutes for transformational leadership. As inhibitors, the presence of any of these factors, either independently or especially collectively, could make the presence of a transformational leader redundant, since followers' positive behavior would instead be sparked by their own motivations or perceptions. On the other hand, when these factors are not present, members of the ministry do not see their leader as one of us. Then transformational leadership is likely to have a much greater impact on the members in that ministry. How many people have you been in I'll put it this way. Have you been in a ministry that you felt that the president or the leader wasn't one of everybody in that group? You felt like they were like in Mars and you were in Venus? That's the thing, right? Members talk, yes? And sometimes they may feel that whoever's in the lead, is out of touch with things. So they're not one of us. So you want to do things your way, and the leader wants to do things their way. So we just have to, you have to get on one accord, but the leader is very important, for the leader to be able to inspire and motivate and encourage, the people that's in their groups, make them feel once again that they're part of, that ministry. In essence, when such favorable conditions are not present, ministry leaders and ministries they work for should see a better return on investment for transformational leadership.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the ministries that seem closed to the person wanting to join? That, in some places I found have been difficult as well. There's, instead of a ministry, it's more like a clique. And I think that makes it difficult for people who want to give up themselves to join. And so therefore you have the same people over and over and over and over again, which perpetuates your problem of not getting anything done.
Right.
So I think we should all keep that in mind as leaders as well, that we should be open, armed, open-minded to anyone who wants to join, because they may just have the key to what you need to bring you closer to your goals.
That's right. Everybody heard that? Okay, and that's so true. Okay, so there are also, and we'll talk about that in a minute, all right? So, there are also numerous examples from the Bible. All right, I had to get you a Bible thing because somebody said, no, they didn't bring no biblical thing in here tonight. So I had to bring at least one biblical thing in here. So, all right, so there are numerous examples from the Bible of Abraham, the biblical patriarch, using transformational leadership principles to destroy paganism and spread the roots for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. He mobilized his small clan and waged war with the four powerful kings, that's Genesis 14, in order to rescue his nephew Lot, showing the courage to take risks and confidence to carry out vision. He cared a lot about people, often inviting strangers in his home and caring for them, providing food and drink, and that's in Genesis 18. So again, we're talking about transformational leadership, right? All right, and it's giving you an example of Abraham being a transformational leader, okay, because he cared for people. All right, so one, he provided food and drink and had people to come to his home. All right, and Abraham also firmly believed in justice for all. It happened with God to save Sodom and Gomorrah from destruction. Okay, so this is what he says. What Abraham says to God, this is Abraham talking to God. What if there are 50 innocent people in the city? Will you destroy it? God says, if I find 50 innocent people in Sodom, I will spare the entire area. Abraham, Suppose there are 45. God, I would not destroy it if I find 45. Abraham, what if there are 40? God, I will not act if there are 40. All right, so in Genesis 18, 20 to 33, you find that whole story where Abraham, went to bat, for the people in that city. Okay, so this is a leader going to bat for his people. And this is the thing that it's saying, as if you're a leader, you're going to look out for the people that's in your group who are supposed to. If you want to be more successful in what you're doing, if you show the people in your group that you care about them, and again, I understand, that everybody, it may not be a good leader because everybody have, not everybody, but there are people that have loose lips. I understand that, okay? And so people don't trust people because they have loose lips, they tell everything, but that's not what a good leader, that's a transformation leader, should be. You should hold, if somebody tells you something in confidence, you should keep it in confidence. That's what you should do as a transformation leader. And then as you're helping that person to go through whatever things that they're going through, they're going to look at you and respect you more. And they're going to be more committed, to making sure your goals are met. Why? Because you're taking care of their needs. You're taking care of them where they are. Okay? When you take care of people where they are, then people don't have a problem trying to help you. What am I saying? I'm saying, all right, if Deacon, if
Make up some names.
yeah, I will. All right, Deacon Cucumber, found Sister Cabbage, and Sister Cabbage was in this group, but Sister Cabbage was hungry. She's hungry. She had no food. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have money for food. And Sister Cabbage is in Deacon Cucumber's group, but she's hungry. Sister Cabbage can't function. Why? Because she's hungry. So if Deacon Cucumber deals with her need, feeds her because she's hungry, all right, then once her stomach is full, she's going to be grateful and she's going to be ready and willing to work. Is that a good example, or you want me to make another one?
Yeah.
I'll make another one up if you want.
Yes, that's good.
Make it another one. Make it another one. No, okay, so that's good.
That's good.
All right, so you understand? So in your ministry, if you help to meet the needs of the people that's in your group, then they're going to be grateful, and again, they're going to be going forward to help make the goals that you set forward to be successful, because they're going to be doing it because they're buying into it, and they're going to tell other people, no, they're okay. No, we got to help them. I'm going to help them do this, and they're going to try, and they may try to go out and get other people, recruit other people to work in your ministry. Why? Because it's a ministry that not only cares about the goal, but they also care about me. Okay? Y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay, so Abraham was also willing to make sacrifices for his beliefs. In the story about God asking him to sacrifice his son Isaac, indicated his willingness to make a personal sacrifice for God in Genesis 22. This trial for Abraham may have been God's way of indicating to Abraham that spreading monotheism would require much sacrifice on the part of believers. And the transformational leaders must be willing to make sacrifices on behalf of an organization. So it takes more. See, some people don't want to make sacrifices. Some people, they look from the outside, it looks good, it looks prestigious, and they don't know that sometimes as a leader, you have to suffer sometimes. Sometimes you suffer, being a leader. Sometimes you have to go in your pocket, to do things because maybe the church doesn't have money or your ministry doesn't have money, where somebody else is not going to do it. But God laid that on your heart to do. So again, a transformational leader is a special believer, okay? Okay, so again, what is transformational leadership? It's a model of integrity and fairness. It sets clear goals, has high expectations, encourages others, provides support and recognition. And that's one thing that's very important. Whether you believe it or not, people like to be recognized for what they do. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
You're right.
Anybody here like to be recognized for what they do? They do. So, and it's something so small, and like Sister Lassiter said, people, if they left somebody's name off of a program because they help, you're not getting nowhere, by doing that. All you're doing is alienating people, and that's not the purpose, of you working in ministry. Okay, stirs up the emotions of people. This is all what transformational leadership does. It gets people to look beyond their self-interest, okay, because some people come with their own self-interest on what they think they're going to get out of it and do, okay, and forget about the goal. Some people have their own things in mind. Yes, okay, inspires people to reach for the improbable. How to become a transformation leader? By creating an inspiring vision of the future, motivating people to buy into and deliver the vision that you have that God has given to you, managing the delivery of the vision. So you have to manage it. Okay, you can't just say, here's the vision, and go home, or expect people stuff just to, do whatever it is that you're saying to do. You got to manage that. You got to make sure, here's the goal. All right, these are the steps, when you go through, what are the steps that we need to do to get to our goal? So you outline your steps, okay? And those steps that you outline, every time you have a meeting, you check your goals, your steps to see where you are. It doesn't take you 12 months to figure out whether you're on goal or you met your goal or not, does it? Some ministries wait till a year. I'm gonna be honest, not here. But some people wait for a year, and then they say, well, we didn't do nothing this year, people didn't show up, but it's too late, it's another year. So if we allow ourselves, to go through every month or whenever you meet, every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever time that your ministry is going to be meeting, you already set your goals, so you should have some milestones that you have set, and so certain things should be done by the time you have your next meeting. If you find, as the transformation leader, if you find that somebody in your group needs help with the goals and stuff that they were given, then you as a leader should get with that person and help them to get to that goal. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? I don't think you hear what I'm saying. You should get with that person, not talk about the person. Did I say talk about the person? No, get with that person, okay? Find out, okay, where are you at? Where are you at? Okay, you've got trouble here?
I'm just doing advertising here.
Go ahead.
I still have 17 ministries that haven't even turned in your leaders list yet for this year. I have work to do. That was my advertisement for the night.
Y'all got that? Okay, so that leader needs to get with that person. Don't wait. If you know somebody is not up to par with the task that they were given, don't wait for them to fail. You already know it. You're the leader. Get with them. Find out where they're stuck at. Where do they need help? And you try to help them, or get them help so that they're successful. You as that transformation leader, you're trying to make that person to look what? That they're successful. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to make that person look like, that they're bad. And he didn't do what he was supposed to do, can't count on him. No, that's not the attitude. You know, Deacon Lassie, you know, so where you at with this? You just open the book, that's it? Okay, well, listen, let's go through it, you know, and work with him, you know, so he can get this. So now, all right, when you come to the next meeting, you know, Deacon Lassie will have something to report. Yes?
Non-advertisement. Another good thing that a leader must do is know the strengths and weaknesses of his
That's correct.
team.
That's correct.
You don't give somebody this project and they can't read or something like that. So you have to know the strengths and weaknesses before you distribute the work.
That's correct.
Because you're setting somebody up to fail. It makes the team feel and look bad. It makes the leader look and feel bad, and it makes that person feel doubly bad.
Right.
And so therefore you don't meet your goals.
Right, and that's true, but again, as the leader, okay, as the leader, knowing that, okay, it's the leader's job to work with that individual to make sure that they're successful and make sure that they don't look bad. See, because when you make sure that that person that you know that can't read, you know what I'm saying, if you're there by them and if you give them like one line and stuff, you know, like everybody knows Jesus wept. So I mean, if you gave me, I'm just saying as an example. I ain't saying go before everybody say Jesus wept, you know. But I'm just saying, if you get him and you give him some words to say that he can say that they can remember, you make him look good. You make that individual look good, and then they're proud of themselves. You're not going to give him, like you said, you may not give him a whole bunch of stuff to read because you know he can't read, but you're going to give him what he can do, all right, to make him look successful. Okay, and again, this is how they're going to want to work, you know, and they're, whatever task that you gave them and you helping them to achieve your goal, the goals that have been set, you know, they're going to buy into it, you know, and they're going to work hard, you know, to try to make that, you know, come to fruition. Because when it comes to the day where everybody's getting credit for whatever, he's going to get credit too, you know, and he's going to have his chest out, you know, proud to, you know, be part of this team. Because why? We have been successful because everyone has done their job. Okay, but again, the leader can't wait. You can't wait 12 months. You can't wait 8 months, 9 months and stuff before you do something. You know, if somebody is not doing the task that they was given, then you got to get in there as a leader and find out what's the problem. You know, and don't be nasty about it. You know, you're going to be asking what's the problem because you want to help them to achieve it. You know, and so, okay, you got stuck here. Okay, some people are afraid of computer. Okay, well, I'll look, you know, I'll find this out for you or whatever, and I'll get the information to you so that you can keep going. You know, so whatever you got to do to encourage that person and make them be successful and look successful, that's what the leaders have to do. And again, it's a lot. I understand it's a lot, but we're talking about being successful. Am I right? Are we talking about trying to be successful in our ministries? Okay, so if you have people that buy into what you're saying, you know, then you'll be able to be successful. Okay, to create an inspiring vision. People need a compelling reason to follow your lead. And this is why you need to create and communicate an inspiring vision of the future.
I said communication.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, money, a lot of stuff you guys said, I know I have here, you know, and I know it's coming, you know, so, but we're going to keep going. Your vision sets out your members' or ministry's purpose. Why you all get up in the morning to do what you do. Okay, so again, when we talk about the goals and stuff, so this is how we set out when we start. You develop this partly by understanding the values of the people you lead, partly by understanding the capabilities and resources. And this is what you just said. That's why I said I know what's in here. It's like Prego. Y'all know what Prego is? That's that spaghetti that got all that stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's in here. Okay, so again, this is true. You know, you develop this partly by understanding the values of the people you lead, partly by understanding the capabilities and resources of your ministry, and partly by conducting an intelligent analysis of your environment and selecting the best way forward within it.
Reverend O'Neill,
Yes.
I think that this is one of the areas that we probably can improve on, because without doing all of that, we're kind of going in every direction.
Right.
And I think it's really important to do before you start the program, do the analysis.
Yes. Okay. So if again, this is for you guys to take note, because like I said, I guess next month or whenever you guys are gonna be taking office, these are things and stuff that January, okay, so you have from now to January to, you know, whatever vision that God has given you, you know, to lead that ministry, all right? You know, you can think of, you know, how God is leading you to be successful for whatever your goals are. You know, you should have goals already set or have them by January and be ready, you know, to hit the road, you know, with all these things and stuff that we're talking about. The group, the people that you have that's going to be members of your ministry, you know, knowing their capabilities, you know, and getting the resources ready, you know, for them to be able to work, to be successful. Okay? Motivate people to buy into and deliver the vision. Now, starting with your mission statement, if you have one, some people have mission statements, okay? You need to appeal to your people's values and inspire them to where you're going to lead them and why. A lot of times people want to know why we're doing this. Why? Nobody ever said that in your group?
Always.
Always?
People
Why?
should.
Why are we doing it? This don't make no sense. Okay, so this is what you have to do. You have to lead them, you know, to where you're going and the reasons why that you're going in that direction. Okay? Use business ministry storytelling as part of your call to action. This will help people appreciate the positive impact of your vision on the people you're trying to help. And if the only person you're trying to help is yourself, you won't inspire anyone. Okay? And maybe that's happened in the past. You know, maybe it's an I thing. You know, but in order to inspire other people, you know, you may have to use, you know, because it's a business, you know, you may have to use a business story or and associate it with your ministry, you know, so that people can understand, you know, where you're trying to go. Because it's because you know, Jesus did things. When Jesus talked to people, he talked to them what in parables, right? He told stories so they can better understand, you know, what it is that was being said. So you may have to break, you know, some of it. Again, I know it sounds like a lot of work. You know, it does. I mean, it sounds like a lot of work because it might be more, you know, that you're hearing today than maybe what you want to get into. But the truth of the matter is, if you want to be successful, it's telling you the things that you need to do to be successful with the people that's working in your group. Okay? Then talk about your vision often. Okay? And the ministry that anybody's been in before, do they talk about their goals or their vision often, or they just say at the first initial meeting and you don't hear any more about it? That's a question.
I think it happens both ways, so
Okay.
depending on
which ministry.
Right.
Okay? So you got to keep that vision stuff there before people. Link it to people's goals and paths and give it context and help people see how they can contribute to it. Transformation leaders also know that nothing significant happens unless they encourage their people. So make sure that you know about the different kinds of motivation and use these to inspire your people to deliver their best. Okay, so again, as that leader, in the past maybe you haven't done all these things, you know, so it's going to give you at least another couple of months of stuff to rest up because you got a lot of work to do, you know, come January. Okay? A vision is no use on its own. It needs to become reality. However, many leaders make the mistake of developing a vision but not putting in the hard and often mundane work of delivering it. That's true? So again, if you're that leader, you got to put some work into the vision that the God gives you. To manage the delivery of your vision, you'll need to combine effective project management and sensitive change management. This will help you deliver the changes you need with the full support of your people. Communicate each person's roles and responsibilities clearly.
Communication.
Huh?
So there's that communication.
Yeah. Communicate each person's roles and responsibilities clearly and connect these to your plans. Everyone should fully understand what they're responsible for and know how you will measure their success. Next, set clear, smart goals for everyone. And again, this is what we were talking about, knowing the capabilities of the individuals in your group. So you got to give, smart goals, okay? You have to know what somebody can do, like you said, and what they can't do. So don't give somebody, like you were saying, don't give them something that you know they can't do because they're going to fail. You're giving them something that you know they're going to fail. So be smart enough to give them things that you know, goals that they can achieve. Okay? You may need to build your self-discipline and stamina so that you don't let yourself down. And set a good example to your people, especially if they're affected by delays or difficulties, by being a model of hard work and persistence. Okay? Sometimes, you get off track. Sometimes there's problems and stuff that won't allow you to, it causes delays in your plans and things that you want to do. So you can't, let that deter you. You gotta, encourage yourself and keep that hard. Let people see you still working hard, even though you may have a setback. Okay? Tip is to clear communication is a simple to transformational leadership. Take the time to make sure that your communications are heard and understood, and give clear, regular feedback so that your people know what you want. All right, so they need to know what you want. Okay? You may need,
Sorry.
where am I at? All right, you may need to build this, we did that one. Yeah. All right, so build ever stronger, true-based relationships with your people. As a transformational leader, you need to focus your attention on your people and work hard to help them achieve their goals and dreams. Leadership is a long-term process, and that as a leader, you need to work constantly to build relationships, earn trust, and help your people grow as individuals. Meet your people individually to understand their developmental needs and help them to meet their career goals. Okay, so what do they want to achieve in their role? Talking about your members, what they want to achieve in the roles that you give them. Where do they see themselves 5 years from now? How can you help them reach this goal? Okay, some people may have the aspiration of wanting to be the president of the ministry. Or they may want to be doing something else. So again, you try to help them to achieve their goals. If there's information that they need, teaching that they need, you try to help them while they're members in your organization or your ministry. And again, it'll go a long way because they'll know that you're caring about them and you're caring about where they're going to be, not just this year, but 5 years from now or a couple of years from now. Okay, lastly, set aside time to coach your people. When you help them find their own solutions, you not only create a skilled team, but you also strengthen their self-confidence and their trust in you. All right, key points. Transformational leaders inspire great loyalty and trust in their followers. And some of this stuff is going to be redundant. It's going to be repetitive. They have high expectations and they inspire their people to reach their goals. You can become a transformational leader by following these steps. Create an inspiring vision of the future. And again, I keep having this repeated because sometimes you've seen it before, you heard it before, but you forgot it. All right, so we're going to keep repeating it. So I'm trying to keep it instilled in your mind, exactly what you need to do. So motivate people to buy into and deliver the vision, manage delivery of the vision, build ever stronger trust-based relationships with your people. Keep in mind that to succeed as a transformational leader, you'll need to work on your own skills. and set aside time and space for personal development. Okay? One of the traps of transformational leadership is that passion and confidence can easily be mistaken for truth and reality. Whilst it is true that great things have been achieved through enthusiastic leadership, it is also true that many passionate people have led the charge right over the cliff into a bottomless chasm. All right, so again, even though we was talking about the good side, about being a transformational leader, okay, there's also a bad side, okay? Because some people just go overboard. Y'all believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Some people take stuff overboard. All right, just because someone believes that they are right, it does not mean that they are right. Paradoxically, the energy that gets people going can also cause them to give up. And that was one of the questions we had way in the beginning last week. Transformational leaders often have large amounts of enthusiasm, which is relentlessly applied, can wear out their members. So you can go overboard. You know what I mean? So you gotta find that mix and do it just right. You know, if you can go overboard with anything. Y'all believe that? I know it's true. You may not agree with it, but you can go overboard. You know. I ain't say that. Here we go. Next. That's next. Okay. Transformational leaders also tend to see the big picture, but not the details, where the devil often lurks. Okay. So if they do not have people to take care of this level of information, then they are usually doomed to fail. All right, so in your vision, you know, you got to go through it. You got to outline it so everybody knows, you know, from A to Z, you know, where we start, how do we get there, you know, and the steps it takes to getting there. All right, just because somebody wakes up and said, I got a vision. We're going to do this. Okay, well, how are we going to get there? You know, well, I don't know. That's what you need to sit and talk with your people about so everybody's on the same page. Because if it doesn't, as it says here, you're going to be doomed to fail. Finally, transformational leaders, by definition, seek to transform. When the organization does not need transforming and people are happy as they are, then such a leader will be frustrated. And I think we said that. Okay? Y'all understand what it said? If you don't need, if that person, a transformation leader can be frustrated if they find that people are.
Status quo.
Yeah. Okay? All right, now, we're coming down to the end. There are 10 ways to become a better leader. All right, so if you want to write these 10 things down, you can.
We can take pictures and
They
print
take
it,
pictures of it.
and print it.
Yeah.
People want it.
Or you can print it for him later if you like, because he has it on the computer. Okay, so one is to learn more about your leadership style. Understanding your current leadership style is essential. What are your strengths? Which areas need some improvement? Okay. 2 is to encourage creativity. Intellectual stimulation is one of the hallmarks of transformational leadership. Followers need to be encouraged to express their creativity. So again, you got to allow the members in your group to be able to express what they're feeling. God gives them a vision. God gives them some knowledge and stuff in their ways to do things as well. Okay? 3 is to serve as a role model. Transformational leaders exemplify the behaviors and characteristics that they encourage in their followers. They walk the walk and talk the talk. And be compassionate. Great leaders have a genuine passion and enthusiasm for the projects they work on. In order for you to sell somebody on what you're doing, you got to be enthused. You know, you can't be enthused 1 week or 1 month and then not be enthused and stuff the next, you know, for the rest of the year. You got to be enthused about what you're doing. You got to show that excitement so you can keep that excitement going. All right, listen in and communicate effectively. Another important characteristic of transformational leadership involves a focus on providing one-on-one communication with ministry members. Good leaders should express sincere care and concern for the members of their ministries, both verbally and non-verbally. By keeping the lines of communication open, these leaders can ensure that ministry members feel able to make contributions and receive recognition for their achievements. Have a positive attitude. Transformational leaders have an upbeat, optimistic attitude that serves as a source of inspiration for members. If leaders seem discouraged or apathetic, members of the ministry are likely to also become uninspired. So you can't let them see, you being discouraged. You gotta have that smile, and even when you don't want to smile, you gotta have that smile and try to stay encouraged, to encourage them. Even when things look bleak and your members start to feel disheartened, try to stay positive. This simply means maintaining a sense of optimism and hope in the face of challenges. But you're going to have challenges. You're going to have challenges along the way. Nothing's going to come easy because the devil's going to make sure you have challenges. Encourage people to make contributions. Let the members of your team know that you're welcome their ideas. Leaders who encourage involvement from group members are often referred to as democratic or participative leaders. While they retain the final say over all decisions, they encourage ministry members to take an active role in coming up with ideas and plans. All right, so again, as it says, it's not saying that the members, have the final decision, all right, because you as the leader have the final decision, but as it says, encourage the ministry members to take an active role in coming up with ideas and plans to help that goal that you set, to come to fruition. Motivate your followers. Transformational leaders also provide inspirational motivation to encourage their followers to get into action. Some ideas for leadership inspiration include being genuinely passionate about ideas or goals, helping followers feel included in the process of offering recognition, praise, and rewards for people and people's accomplishments. So again, one of the big things, everybody, likes to be praised. Everybody does. Anybody here don't like to be praised? If they do something good, anybody don't, or does everybody like somebody to say something good if I do something good? Yes, right? So everybody likes to be praised, so keep that in mind. Offer rewards and recognition. A good leader knows that offering effective recognition and rewards is one of the best ways to help followers feel appreciated and happy. It may also come as no surprise that happy people tend to perform better at work. True statement?
Yeah.
Okay. So if they're here doing ministry, if you do things that make them happy, it will perform better for you. So keep trying new things. Who says leadership is a one-way relationship? As you work toward honing your leadership skills, don't forget to look to your followers for feedback and inspiration. Pay attention to the things that have been effective in the past and always be on the lookout for new ways to inspire, motivate, and reward ministry members. Okay? And that should be it. Okay? Now, any questions that we didn't answer?
One of the things I don't think we really touched on was, we did touch on the hierarchy or the order of the church. From private industries, a lot of times I've learned that when you're a leader by rote, they tell you, you must do this. And sometimes in some churches, somewhere, we do that as well. One of the hardest things for a leader to do is to see the focus from the one above and to be able to carry it through, especially if you don't understand it yourself. You've got to understand, it may not be what you want personally or what you think is needed, but your task, you've been given a task and you've got to follow it through. So an enthusiasm, that part is difficult sometimes when you don't necessarily buy into the reason why you've been chosen a leader to do something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
We really didn't talk about, we do that at this church sometimes. We appoint somebody to do something, and either they don't feel comfortable doing it, or they don't understand it, but it's not that they don't like it, or don't necessarily buy into it, but we've got to make we've got to make everyone understand what we're doing is for God. We're not doing it for the pastor. We're not doing it for the leader of that group. We're doing it for a higher plane. And I think a lot of times if we don't keep that in focus, then nobody's encouraged. And everybody sits there and nobody raises their hand to do anything. And it's hard to get people to have tasks, to even come to meetings sometimes. It's real difficult, and it has gotten harder lately, I will say that. And that's a symptom of something we need to identify.
Okay, everybody agree with what she's saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't mind if I get some water.
Don't be silly.
Here's the thing. As we talked about transformational leadership, okay, and so we're talking about doing things today in a different way, all right, in a different manner.
That's cool.
Good, thanks. So we're talking about doing things today in a different way, in a different manner, okay? If you take a toll or analyze the things and stuff that went well or didn't go well, and one of the things that you just said was that sometimes people are appointed to these positions, so they really don't have that mind, to do whatever that particular goal or ministry really is, so therein one lies a problem, because that leader is the one who's supposed to motivate everybody that's in that group, okay? So there's a difference between someone who's willing to do it, okay, versus someone who's not willing to do it, okay? Right, I should have time. What time is it? It's 7?
It's
8 o'clock.
8
8
o'clock,
o'clock already? Jesus, Lord, mercy. I'm so sorry.
especially next week.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I thought it was earlier. Okay, so again, if it's someone who's interested and has the zeal to want to do it, this is where we talked about somebody who's done it before, and they can help that person, to be successful by, helping them not to reinvent the wheel, and not sitting on the sideline, waiting for that person to fail, because that person may have all the attributes of being able to motivate people, but they just don't know what to do. So that's where that other person who's been there, done that, experienced in that particular ministry can help.
You hear so many times, and I am speaking around here this time, you hear so many times, well, she is always in charge of that. But when it comes time for somebody to volunteer, nobody volunteers. So you got 12 people doing the same job.